Hey, welcome to a new episode of the First Day Podcast. Michael Govier, Leigh Ann, hello. It's Wednesday night at 9 p.m. That means it's time to talk turkey. It's time to talk about where is my motivation? In 30 seconds or less, where is your motivation, Leigh Ann?
I don't have it. I don't know where it is.
That's it.
No, you know what? Something
Where'd it go?
Something that I've really been thinking about since we decided that we were going to talk about this.
Where your motivation went?
Yeah. It's how it changes depending on what I'm looking for motivation for.
Where did your motivation go? We'll talk about that today on this episode. It's the First Day Pod. Firstdaypod at gmail.com is how you can email the show if you'd like to inquire about being a guest. We would love to have you on as a guest. Are you a mental health expert? Are you a master of personal development? Do you understand the world better than anybody else in this entire world? Well, then come and join us. Be our friend. Be on the First Day Pod. Firstdaypod at gmail.com. We also have the First Day Pod Book Club, which is humming along. Where are we, Leigh Ann? Are we at the end of the book, which is called Atomic Habits?
Yes, we just finished it. And we are taking next week off because it is Valentine's Day. Not that it even matters. But a couple of people in the group had prior kind of engagements. And so we decided just to take the time off. And it was perfect because it's between books. And so this is the next book. Oh, I don't know if you guys can see it. No, you guys won't be able to see it. There's something really weird happening. Anyway, so the next book is The Sleep Revolution. And that is by Arianna Huffington. I started reading it already. It's going to be really good. If you're looking at improving your sleep, or at least understanding more about, is it important?
Of course it's important.
Well, it is.
It's not a debate.
It's not a debate unless you're like a super busy person that thinks, well, like I did, that's where we can gain a couple hours in the day.
We're always but now you've learned.
Yes.
Now you've learned. You've grown. That's what you can do with the show. This is the show that will help you grow. Wisdom, empowerment, and education, just like Leigh Ann.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, I'm always learning. That's why I love this podcast. I come on here just to learn.
Yay! What'd you learn about yourself today?
I learned that I really enjoy being out in the fresh air. Like really a lot. It was really hard for me to wake up this morning to go for a walk. But I was motivated to get out of bed because I knew that a girlfriend of mine was waiting for me. So we can talk about that, like, the different types of motivation. But then when I was out there, it took 30 seconds for me to be out there and be like, oh, this is it. This is what it's all about. So that's what I learned, that I need that every day.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you've learned that before, but it's always good to be reminded of that.
It is, but it's so easy to talk yourself out of things, just to be like, is it really that important? Not really. No, it's okay if I just sit at the computer all day and just do the things. So, yeah. What did you learn?
I learned that connecting with people and having discussions is a positive in your life, and you can learn a lot more by talking to somebody than sitting in silence.
You just learned that today?
No. What I also learned is that the difference between an introvert and extrovert is not very clear. It's complicated. These days, what an extrovert is, what an introvert is, are two different positional categories, but they don't have the same clear markers that we used to think were obvious for either one of those. So that's what I learned today, that it's complicated. With the new world that we live in, the internet, the constant availability of 24/7 access to human beings like this, we're both on cameras from the comfort of our own home, live on the internet. Mm-hmm. Does that mean that we're extroverts because we're putting ourselves out there like that? Or are we introverts who are comfortable enough to have tendencies and attributes or traits that are extrovert-like?
Yes.
Huh?
Both are possible, but that's where I think I sit, that I'm more comfortable putting myself out there. But it's not my natural inclination. My natural inclination is not to be around people and to be extroverted.
That is shocking.
Well, it's actually quite funny because everybody that I meet, not everybody, but a lot of people assume that I'm an extrovert. Just the way that I don't know if it's the way that I carry myself or the way that I am in situations, but I'm really not. Well, you know that.
Oh,
I'm just starting to get to like where I can go to like house parties and go and feel comfortable being around people.
You've
But
been
if
going to house parties?
Yeah, all the house parties that we've been going to.
Oh, wow. I feel like I didn't get the invite on these.
Yeah, but I used to have a really hard time with it. And now I'm just putting myself out there because we only live once. And I've been talking to a lot of people about this thing. It feels like as we get older, then we kind of like want to just be like a homebody. Well, not everybody, but the people that I've been talking to, they want to be a homebody. But then we realize
Oh,
how
buddy.
much goodness comes out of being around people and the conversations that happen and things that you learn just by being with other people. So
I love your homebody.
yeah. You're adorable.
You're right about that, Leigh Ann. It's all true. In the end, it's up to us, but we can learn a lot by talking to others and listening. Listening and talking together, done in concert, can be very beneficial to your life. I don't know if that's news to any of you, but if it is, let me be the first one to tell you it's true. Right?
Yes. Yes.
Yay! So yeah, hit us up for the First Day Pod Book Club if you want to join us. New book starting soon. You got, almost 2 weeks. It's never too late. It is never, ever too late. firstdaypod@gmail.com. I want to shout out Brian Seymour. We just recorded a new episode of our pod, whatever that thing is. You can find that on this channel, by the way, the only episode that currently exists under the playlist Seymour and Govier, or whatever we call it. And the new episode will be up tomorrow, so you can check that out. Listen to me and Brian talk about what's going on with the latest from our point of view from two male human beings.
I love listening to you guys.
Well, Brian made a point to make sure that he didn't talk as much for this one.
That's good. It was very well, yeah, like it's nice, but he was very easy to listen to.
Oh yeah, he's got a wonderful voice. So
yeah,
definitely listenable. You're disappearing, Leigh Ann. Why do you keep disappearing?
I know. I'm trying to figure out where my body needs to stay. I think I'm gonna.
What has changed? What is? I mean, we've done this. This is our 90th episode, I believe.
Yes, I'm more introverted
with 89
today.
of these. You're more introverted today. That's what it is. That makes sense. Okay.
I'm hiding.
She hit the introvert button. All right. So today we're talking about where is my motivation? Where is it? Where did it go? What happened to me? What happened to my desires, my passions? Why don't they exist in the first place? Or where did they go after they initially seemed to be very prevalent? Does that happen, Leigh Ann? Why does this happen to us?
I don't know, but I know why it happens to me.
You do?
Yeah. It like I said at the beginning, what does Michelle say? Middle?
She says the middle seems to be best for you.
Oh, okay. So, okay. Well, it is. Okay. I can't figure it out. So anyway, sorry people that are listening to this in the audio version, but go over to YouTube and you can see me do my disappearing act.
Yeah, and you can subscribe to our channel while you're there.
Yes, please.
YouTube.com/firstdaypod.
Oh, that's so easy. It just rolls off the tongue. So yeah, what I've like in the past really like kind of white knuckled it a lot and thought that it had to just be like brute force of motivation.
You're not alone.
I'm not?
No.
Oh, that's good to know. So but now I'm realizing it's different. Oh gosh. So it's different. There we go. So it's different depending on what it is and depending on how clear I am about my goals and about why I want to achieve the things that I want to achieve.
Oh, that's peculiar. How'd you know that?
There's not one, because I was trying to think about it today. I was like, what keeps me motivated for certain things? And then I realized like there's so many things different. There's so many different things that I'm trying to juggle in my life. And some of them are much easier than others. And so there's a lot of things that play into it that, either my why isn't super clear. I'm not like super clear about why I'm doing the things that I'm doing or why I want to accomplish the things that I want to accomplish, or there's some sort of limiting belief that's kind of lingering there. Yeah, it's really interesting. So I don't think, even after this conversation, I'm going to be excited to have this conversation, but I don't think there's going to ever be one size fits all for not only for each person, but for each situation. So I think being flexible, there's a word for it, but I can't
Being
remember.
flexible?
Yeah, for being flexible, there's a word for it in psychology. I can't remember what it is, but like where if you can be more flexible, then you'll be able to kind of experiment with what's working for you in that situation.
If you could be more flexible, you could experiment more.
Yeah.
Interesting. I wonder how that works.
Oh gosh.
Let's see. I'm more flexible. Therefore, I have room to operate. More room.
Mm-hmm. You're more curious and you're more open to other ways of being.
That makes total sense. I'm down. Let's party.
Good.
Yay! I know that motivation could be challenging. It's a mystery sometimes. Where does it come from? Does it exist even? I mean, you can't really label it in a physical world. Like, oh, there's my motivation. Grab it. Hurry up. Grab that. Stop it before it runs out the front door. Can't do that.
It'd be nice though.
Oh, that'd be wonderful. We could put a leash on our motivation and then have a nice tight leash on it so it was always close to us.
Yeah.
That'd be wonderful. Is that possible?
No.
Darn it. Well, don't get my hopes up, Leigh Ann. Come on.
But it sort of kind of is. The older that we get.
Sort of kind of is.
Yeah, because the older that we get and the more, I was just having this conversation in my mastermind and we were talking about how we can have the choice to kind of, wait, were we having that in the mastermind or in the book club? I can't remember where I was having this conversation. But anyway, we were having the conversation about kind of doing like a review of your day or review. Actually, I think it was in the book club, a review of your day or a review of your week or a review of your month. And we were having the conversation, is it good enough just to do it monthly to see what was working, what wasn't working, blah, blah, blah. And we came down to the point that if we do that every day, then we'll be able to pivot just like a degree or so every day and eventually like fine tune what we need. So if we're let's say we're trying to lose weight, or let's say not even lose weight. Let's say we're trying to train for a marathon.
Ooh.
If we can't seem to find the motivation just, because we want to do the marathon, then by checking that day before you go to bed or when you wake up in the morning and say, okay, did I train last night? And like, did I train yesterday? And then if you didn't, ask why, figure out what stopped you and see if it was like an actual circumstance, or was it that you didn't schedule it? Was it that you weren't feeling well? Was it whatever? And do that every single day. Eventually you'll find the best things that are working. And you may I feel like action is a bigger driver to get the things done that we want to get done rather than just having the motivation. We need to be able to do the things that need to get done regardless of if we're motivated or not. So we have to have those processes in place. Oh gosh, I got to start looking at myself to see if I'm there.
You can't move. You have to hold still.
I can't. I'm Maltese. I can't. I'll stop talking if I stop moving.
Don't label yourself, honey. Come on. You don't like labels.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
Anyways, I'll tell you this.
Okay. Well,
motivation can come and go, and that's natural. So don't freak out and don't really stress about it until it becomes a little more consistent, a little more long term. If you find yourself in, I don't know, let's say maybe a good month or so, and you just have no desire to complete your daily tasks, which would lead to a bigger goal that you have in mind, like learning to play the drums. You might have said, all right, I'm really motivated to learn to play the drums. It seems like a lot of fun. I'm going to do it. So you start out taking lessons. You go to somebody once a week and they teach you the basics. And then eventually you find yourself not interested in going. What happened? What was it? Were you suddenly disappointed that you weren't as good as you thought you would be at a certain point in the timeline? Did you put too much pressure on yourself? Did you find out that maybe your actual reason for signing up for drum lessons and wanting to learn to play the drums had to do with some outside focus not having to do with you whatsoever, but you didn't realize it at the time? Think about that, honey.
Yeah, absolutely. So why do you have to wait a month for that? Why can't you just, when you have that feeling like you don't want to go to the lesson, why can't you ask yourself those questions at that point?
Because it happens over a month. It didn't just happen right away.
No, you missed one meeting. You missed one lesson. You physically did not go to do the thing that you wanted to do.
Yeah, I think you're missing the point of the story here.
No, I'm not. I totally get it. I agree that it can change. And I agree that like after, a month of it slipping, but I feel like I'll just speak for myself.
Okay.
I shy away from introspection and I shy away from really calling myself out on what's actually happening. I
Oh.
shy away from reviewing the things that I've done or the goals that I've set. That's where I shy away. I'm great at making the goals. I'm really good at doing the actions to achieve them, but if I lose sight of it, then I'm not the one that's going to go back and be like, so why didn't I do those things? Or why? And I feel like if I can micromanage that instead of waiting until it just like falls right off, if I micromanage it in the moment, then maybe I can either change that moment and realize, oh no, you know what? This is the reason why I'm doing it. And then you'll make the decision to go or do or act or be or whatever it is. Or you'll decide not to, and you'll be able to just direct your path where you want to go. Like, I don't know. I feel like waiting until things drop off, it's a slippery slope to not even catching yourself and just losing that whole momentum altogether.
Yeah, well, that's a fallacy, though. That momentum is ridiculous. So
What's a fallacy?
we're not physical objects tumbling forward constantly.
What's a fallacy?
Momentum.
No, that's not a fallacy.
Yeah, you think it's helpful, but it's not. It's all in your mind. It's not going to last in the long run. If you're heavily focused on momentum as, hey, look at me. Every day I had a goal that's set in mind. I've been eating sugar-free for the last 10 days, and I'm feeling better and better and better every minute. As soon as things go sour, it's all going to crumble. That's the problem. It could be positive, but yes, it's all a lie. It's a fallacy in the end because it's not something that will lead to permanent change.
Okay. Okay. So I get that if that's only if you're not checking yourself every day.
Yeah. Could you describe checking yourself again?
Yeah. If you are not doing the things that you set up that you want to do every day, ask yourself why you're not doing them that day. Like look back at how you handled your day. And then it's a matter of having, like you don't have to do it to berate yourself. You don't have to be like, oh, I didn't do the thing or, life got in the way or whatever. You can just look at the things that you wanted to accomplish. I think that's one of the biggest things is getting clear about what you want your days to look like, even if it's not a set thing of like every day I want to do this. It's just at night you decide, okay, you look at your schedule and say, this is where I can fit things in and make your schedule every night for the next day. And then every night when you're making the schedule for the next day, look at the day that you just had and see where you could have made improvements and where you're just not interested in doing the things Maybe you said you wanted to meditate every day because everybody's talking about meditation being really helpful. It is very helpful, but it might not be for you, or it might not be for you in that time. So you don't have to like stronghold yourself into somebody else's routines or what they want. And so by looking back at your day and realizing why you did the things that you did or why you didn't do the things that you did, you'll be able to course correct a lot easier. I really do think that's the for me, I think that's going to be the key. Because the days that I do reflect back and the days that I do make a schedule for the next day, I'm a lot better
than
the days that I do not.
schedule a routine.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that have to do with motivation?
The motivation for me, a lot of the time, is checking off that box or saying that I'm going to do the thing and setting the goal and then actually doing it. Seeing that you're doing one thing every single day. They talked about it in the book in Atomic Habits about not breaking the chain. That can be part of your motivation. There's a lot of things that play into it too, though, that you should you could set yourself up for being motivated. Accountability partners. Like I would have went out for a walk this morning if I didn't have Nina, that I knew that she was waiting for me.
Good job, Nina.
So, anyway, I think motivation, I think we really do need to like go back and look at what we thought was going to motivate us that day, and did it work or didn't it work? Because if it didn't work and it didn't work 2 days in a row, then chances are it's not going to work for the next 30 days. So course correct and figure out another way of motivating yourself to do the thing that you want to do. No?
Maybe. I don't know. We're talking a lot of general terms here. I don't know if this is a good show. I don't think this is a good show at all, frankly. I feel like we're talking too vaguely, and it's just too general, and it's like, what the hell are these two guys talking about?
Okay, so so what were you hoping when you wanted to do it on motivation?
We're talking about dissecting into where did my motivation go and why does that happen? Where's my motivation?
Because you're not clear. I really do think a lot of it is because you're not clear.
Well, there's some motivation for you. Look at Josh checking in. He's down to 295. He was at 352 in November. How about that?
Congratulations, Josh.
That's incredible, Josh. Wow.
Oh, congratulations. That's so wonderful.
Well done, my man. How did you do that? Tell us how you did it. Because that is not easy to do. That's a challenge right there.
Wow.
Where did the motivation come from? And how did you maintain it? Because we know if you've kept up on our show here, Josh had heart surgery back in November. And that's a clear motivation because he could have died and he didn't want to die, and he's a father, and he has a family. So, that's pretty powerful. It's about as powerful as it gets for motivation. But even still, some people who have diseases, they still make behaviors that they know are unhealthy. They know that it will hurt them, a part of their lifestyle. And there's a lot of reasons that happens. Chemical reasons. You're addicted to certain substances and foods and sugars or other stuff. And I understand that too, but if it's killing you, if you have diabetes and you could lose limbs, you start to talk about a real serious motivational factor coming into play. And that is easier, I suppose. What happened with Josh here is fantastic. Even though it sucks, nobody wants to have a bypass, and it's not something you really, hey, I hope that happens to me so I can be healthy. Nobody wants that. But what happened here is a gift for him in the strangest of ways, just like it happened with opioids for me. My opioid use disorder led to me understanding empathy on a much deeper level and being much more appreciative and grateful for the world around me. So even though it was hell on earth, it ends up being a wonderful gift. So that does happen, and that's pretty cool. I can get down with that.
Yeah. That's amazing. Josh, that's incredible. And the fact of
Yay!
keeping it off right now and getting under the 3, that's huge. That is such a big deal because
Congratulations.
it is easy. Yeah, in November, sure. It's easy. You just had surgery and then yeah, you come home and you want to do all the good things, but like it's February. This could totally have he could have derailed it and just been like, "Okay, I did it's fine," and not made the changes. So it's kudos to you, man. That's awesome.
Woo! Way to go, Josh. That's fantastic news. Love you, brother. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, as far as motivation, it's working for Josh. He seems to be motivated, and it's been a long trend here of 3 months. So, good for you. But there's others of us out there who lost our motivation. So, when I labeled this show, Where is My Motivation? I wanted the focus to be about why does it go away? Where does it go? Why do we lose it? And is it a myth? Is it something that's all in our heads? Well, the truth is I don't think that's the case at all. So if you had a desire to start running a mile a day, that was your goal. You're like, I'm gonna start running a mile a day. I have a motivation within me that says, let's run a mile a day. Well, first of all, where did it come from? Why did you get motivated to do that? Was it because there's negatives in your life? Were you feeling lethargic and you thought you needed more exercise? There could be a host of different reasons why. But I think you need to minimize, when the motivation goes away, minimize all the planning. You need to simplify and take it down a notch, because I think something we've learned, or at least I've learned in my psychological pursuits, is that you want to reduce the amount of expectations you have when your motivation escapes you.
I agree. When do you think you find out that you lost the motivation?
When do you think you find out about it? I think it kind of dawns upon you when you're not doing an action or behavior that you were doing prior. As soon as you're not doing it, you might miss a day, but then if it's 2 events in a row, if it's a weekly thing, it's like, oh, I haven't done this twice now in the last 2 weeks. Uh-oh. Why am I not doing that? I think it really sets in pretty quickly. Maybe not the first time, but second time, and so after.
I know
Yeah.
for me, I've lost motivation to do things, and it's gone a lot. Like,
Oh.
and then I just don't even realize it, and it's like, oh my god, yeah, I used to do that, and
That's
it
true.
fell off.
Yeah, that does happen too. I suppose you're right. Yeah. You know, me and Leigh Ann have been ice skating. We went ice skating last weekend, and we don't do that normally. We never do that. And I bought a pair of skates last Saturday, and then we went skating on Sunday, and Leigh Ann rented a pair. She was very nervous about it. Wasn't that excited to do it because she thought she sucked.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got there, and even with her rental skates, she did pretty well. She did great, actually. So suddenly, we found a joy in something. Now, it wasn't like we were professional skaters ever. It's just something that I was growing up. I played hockey on the ponds around my neighborhoods, or every once in a while we get to go to the local ice arena and play if somebody could rent it out. But that was it. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm a skater, that's what I do. It was just a hobby, I suppose, and exercise. But when we did it, I was like, oh, that used to be fun. Why did that go away from my life? And that's an example of something that I guess just kind of went away with time because I didn't have the same lifestyle. So I wouldn't say I lost the motivation for ice skating. It just kind of faded out in a way because maybe I didn't have access. You know, ice skating kind of specific too. You need to have ice and you need to have the ability to skate on it. So, but you're right. Things do just kind of disappear.
Which is also fine. It's also fine. Like,
not cool.
but it is like it's fine. But if there's something that I don't know. I just feel like if there's something that you really want to accomplish, I really do think that like figuring out why you want to, because that internal why is the motivation that you can come back to. I don't think I I think we lose sight of the reason why we're doing the things, or the reason why we're doing the things changes, and maybe our life circumstance changed, or we just, maybe you were hanging out with certain people that were doing certain things, and then you're not hanging out with those people anymore. Like I used to hang out with some girls that were runners. So I got into running.
Oh,
So I was going at 5 o'clock in the morning, and we were going and running and doing all the things.
yeah. Remember that group? You had a
Yeah.
messaging group and everything.
Yeah. We did it all. It was
And they used
wonderful.
to fill your messaging group with tons of news.
What?
You don't
I don't
remember that?
remember. No, I don't remember.
Yeah, they'd always post news about COVID or anything. And like,
Oh,
I
yes,
don't
yes,
wanna hear
yes,
about
yes.
this."
No, thank you. So, but when we were running, that was my motivation, because, my friends were doing it, we were doing it, we were going to do whatever. Then I'm not friends with them anymore. Well, I'm friends with a couple of them, but like I'm not close enough that we go running anymore. And so I realized I don't even want to be a runner. Like, so my motivation changed because I wasn't with the same people. And that's okay. But I feel like we just need to introspection. If we all did it more often, I really do think that we would succeed in a lot more, and we would find more joy in the life that we were having, because it would be by design instead of by default.
Yeah, there's also reasons you might lose motivation physically. So they could be, hormonal. Your neurochemistry could be out of whack. So remember that too. It's always good to consult with helping professionals who know best, so that you can cover all the aspects of what's going on with you. Eliminate all the physical possibilities before you dive into your mental and
That's a great
cognitive
point.
behavioral structures. That's something that we should all know beforehand.
Yes, that's a great point.
Yeah, remember there's intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Internal, external. Are you motivated from inside? Things that you believe in, that you want, so that are truly not factored in from the outside. And studies show again and again and again and again and again, overwhelmingly, that intrinsic motivation is always going to trump outside external motivation. It's just the way it is. That's why teachers strive for it. It's one of the things I learned as a teacher, learning at teacher college, that you want to get your students to do it because they want to do it themselves, not because you want them to do it. That's never going to fly in terms of the most ideal outcome.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I needed to know. I've kept that lesson with me for a while now. Josh says, many times if you have hit an almost shameful moment, it is a motivator when thinking of that moment. At least for me, it's a motivator. A shameful moment. Yeah, that could mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But yeah, I'm sure if you're filled with shame, you'll want to do the opposite to maybe reduce that shame and make it go away. Or you could be like me and you're not ashamed of anything ever. So, Isn't that funny? I'm funny, aren't I?
Is that true?
Of course not.
So, but the other thing is that could also work in the reverse, that you're just so full of shame that you don't want to move forward, or you don't know how to take that next step, and you berate yourself to a point that you can't move forward.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think another big thing is, sometimes, for me anyway, I will have this big grandiose kind of goal or thing that I want to hit, and that's motivation in the beginning. That's like, oh gosh, that would be amazing. That's awesome. And so for the first, like, whatever it is, maybe first couple days, maybe first couple weeks, it's just like, yeah. But then when you're not seeing the results, or they're not coming quick enough, you can lose motivation, because you're just like, oh my gosh, this is like, when am I going to get there? So figuring that out, and still, if you still want that goal, if you still that grandiose kind of thing still appeals to you, if you break it down into increments that you can actually like hit milestones that you can celebrate, that's motivation. It's just changing kind of changing the milestone or the goal that you want to hit, so then you can get excited about it quicker. And sometimes it's just that simple too. Like but again, I don't want to keep harping on it, but I really do think the big thing is talking to yourself and really figuring out what's working, what's not working. And if you don't want to do it on a daily, at least do it on a weekly. That's why like accountability partners or accountability groups help a lot, because
you've always been so pro that. I got to give you a lot of credit for that.
Because it works. It just works.
Yeah. The more I date you and the longer our relationship goes on, I'm starting to buy more and more into accountability partners. I admit that. Seems to be a nice thing. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And you got to get the right accountability partner. Like if you get somebody that.
Well, yeah. Don't get someone you're going to get divorced from. So.
Oh, dear.
Well, I mean, people do.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yes.
I don't want that to happen.
No, I'd hope not. Okay. So what does Josh have to say?
Well, Josh says, such as find yourself alone eating shelves of food at a time. Like the end of the movie Dodgeball. Oh, yeah, I've seen that movie. Leigh Ann's probably never seen Dodgeball.
I actually have. I don't remember that part, though, but I do remember seeing it.
You don't remember the end?
No. I might not have made it to the end. Oh, dear.
You might not have made it to the end. It's a very short movie, too, so that's funny. Yeah. At the end of the movie, Ben Stiller is wearing a fat suit, because in the movie, he's like this super ripped, crazy gym owner who's totally egotistical to the max. And at the end of the movie, he's gained a ton of weight just eating all the garbage in the world, but he's been making fun of everybody during the movie for eating the slightest piece of anything. So that's what Josh is referencing. Josh, I hear you, man. That doesn't feel good. It's sad. I know the pain there, brother. I do. Josh says, noticing how behaviors affect yourself or others around you that you care for, self and social awareness. A double whammy of
boom,
internal and social awareness around you. Way to go. Your environmental and internal awareness. I like that. Self-aware, socially aware. In fact, we should make t-shirts that say that. First Day Pod. Self-aware, socially aware.
Ooh,
I really like that idea.
I do like that.
In fact, that could be our updated slogan too.
Yes.
Good thing we're recording this, so I'll have it for after the fact. Yeah.
Yes, thanks, Josh.
I love it, man. I'm down. It's a motivator, Mike. Yeah, you're damn right it is. No doubt about it. These are all motivators for some. Yes, they are, Josh.
Yeah.
Firstdaypod@gmail.com. If you want to contact us about anything that's on your mind, please do. Let us know what your motivators are. Why do you lose motivation? Do you have any secrets or tips? We'd love to have follow-ups from the episodes that we talk about after the fact. Like when we do this show, next week we can pop in to start the show. But here's some follow-up emails from what people had to say about last week's show.
Oh my goodness, we used to do that where we used to take the emails. Do you remember that? At the beginning, we'd be like, but because we were asking people to email us and said, hey, and we'll read it on the show. And then we were getting people to send us emails.
I don't remember anybody emailing.
You don't remember that?
I remember one time Eric emailed us once.
No, there were a couple people.
Really?
Yeah. Like Jenny.
Oh, Jenny's emails. Yeah, those were awesome. You're right. I forgot about those.
Yeah.
We miss you, Jenny. If you ever listen to the show anymore, we'd think of you, and we hope you're well right now.
Yes. Such a sweet girl.
A long time ago, Mike, I sent an email. Oh, yes. Josh sent an email. Okay.
Yeah, because we were asking
we're renewing that passion. Bring your emails out. Come on, folks. More email, more email. We want your emails. Hook us up. We want to connect with you. We don't want to just forget about what happened last week. We want to build upon each episode because all of this is building on top of itself again and again and again and again and again to create a superstructure foundation that supports all of us so that we can have the best life that we could possibly make for ourselves.
Yes. Whatever that
sound reasonable?
Like. Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Yeah, whatever it looks like. It looks different for everyone. So when it comes to motivation, just don't be so hard on yourself. Take it easy, slow your roll. At the same time, You got a lot of things you need to look at so you can eliminate possibilities, which is just something that you should do universally for anything in life. Eliminate possibilities to find the most likely scenario that is happening for you. But, people lose motivation because they're bored. I know that's happened to me. Oh, wait, I'm doing this so many times. It starts to wear on you mentally that I did the same workouts for so long and then I couldn't do them anymore, even though I'd done them so many times. Suddenly I stopped doing them and I couldn't go back to them. I needed a new way forward. That's why I took up ice skating now, because it was a new, fresh way to get some exercise. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge.
You could also lose motivation because you're not feeling satisfied with what you've done so far.
Mm-hmm.
You might have had higher expectations and you didn't meet them. Don't beat yourselves up. Let's not beat ourselves up, Leigh Ann.
Right. Celebrating the little wins is another huge, huge thing. It really is. And that's why surrounding yourself with people that are in a community of people that want the same things as you. So if you're looking at running a marathon, join a group. Even if you don't run with them, join a group, even on just Facebook or Twitter. Do you guys have groups on Twitter? I don't know how to. Anyway, find people that are doing the same things as you. So then you're feeding off of that. I think community is a big deal, even if you don't want an actual accountability partner, even though those are so awesome. Just being surrounded by people will motivate you and give you different ideas. What was that just came up?
Of course there is. There's no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
Having people to connect with. That's why social groups, socializing with people and learning from others that are like you or similar to you. They've had the experience you've had or maybe one close to it. Of course that matters. It helps you identify. You feel less alone in the universe. The less alone in the universe we can feel, the better off we're going to be. I can guarantee you that one. That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I know from experience, dude. If you compare yourself to others, you're going to lose motivation too. That could be a real nightmare. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't compare yourself to others. It's so hard to do, though, because especially in the United States, it's a society built upon comparison in just so many ways. We compare our families. We compare our hair. We compare our favorite sports teams. Everything is compared all the time. Really, really not good. And I really wish that wasn't the case, but it is. So you have to actively fight to make sure that you try to stay out of that constant comparison zone. Mike and Leigh Ann, I recommend looking up some military exercises, are easy little exercises that work your body more than you think. Sure. Yeah, the military, there's no shortage of exercise opportunities and routines. So if you ever get, I think he's talking about the point about being bored with the routine. Yeah. If you get sick of doing the same workout routine again and again and again, yes, there are a plethora. YouTube is filled with all these videos where you can try something different. Leigh Ann bought me the gym thingy that you hang from the door
TRX
last year. Yeah, that was a different way to try to work out. And I use it every day. I love it. It's changed my life.
Yes? You use it every day?
I've used it on certain days, and it's my life is different than it was when I first got it. I know that.
Okay. Okay. I actually just saw a video. It just popped up yesterday or the day before, and it was a girl using that TRX system. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to bring that out. So every weekend, well, not every weekend, this weekend, I'm going to use it and do some of those exercises and see if I like it. Yeah. And then I might just bring it home.
Skating at Eric and Rhonda's. Oh my God.
Yay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's too hot out, though. The outside pond's going to melt.
Yeah.
It's getting too. Josh says, do you think as you get older, finding motivation gets more difficult?
For me, I think it's getting easier.
Oh,
for me, as I'm getting older now, if you would have asked me this when I was your age, Josh, then I would have said yes, because 30s were really difficult for me because I was doing the whole comparison thing. I was thinking that I should be somewhere where I was doing that whole like, oh, this is where I should be at this age and whatever. And so there was no motivation that could do anything to get me to where I wanted to be because I was like too in my head. Something happened when I turned 40. And I don't know if it's like I turned 40 or, Mike and I started dating again. I don't know what it is, but my 40s, I'm finding it a lot easier to find motivation to do the things that I want to do. And what I'm realizing is the things that I'm not doing, it's not really a matter of I'm losing motivation. They're not a priority to me. So, for the majority of time, that's the problem. It's just not a priority. There's other things that are more of a priority for me.
Yeah, that's my girl. It's also you're just more and more beautiful each day. It's incredible. So it's easier for you to look at yourself and be like, oh my God, look at me. It's so easy being
You're
me.
Such a weirdo.
Isn't that true? Don't you find that that's true? Hey, Josh is just hitting on something me and Leigh Ann know all about. Just do an exercise where you hold your arms out to your side at shoulder level and see how long you can hold your arms out. When me and Leigh Ann went to the grocery store this past weekend, we were waiting in line and we did a workout where, what did we have? Was it the cans? It was the basket full of, Leigh Ann bought a bunch of beans, like 4-pack cans of beans, 4-packs that we had in a basket. So I started doing this workout where I lifted the basket up in front of me, hold it out, and see how long I could hold this thing. And it was a really good workout. I was sore afterwards.
Yeah.
We did that while waiting in line at the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool, huh? So are you doing the exercise now? That's great. Okay.
Yeah, I am.
So,
it's hurting.
There's no shortage of ways that you could get the simplest of exercise at any time. There's no excuse. The only excuse is that you just don't, your mind cannot process forward to get down on the ground to do the push-ups or to lift your arms up and just hold them to see how long you can do it. Sometimes you just feel down and out. You don't feel like challenging yourself at all. You're just like, I don't have it. That's why you need somebody to push you and say, hey, what are you doing? That helps. That makes a difference.
The other thing that helps me, and I always forget this, okay, that's enough.
Good job.
They feel like jelly now. Thanks, Josh. That's a good one. Yeah, feel free to send us more. So, oh shoot, what was I just gonna say? I can't remember what I was just about to say.
Somebody pushes you?
Nope, don't remember. Lost it completely. It's like my motivation. I just lost it completely. I don't remember.
Yeah, some days you don't have the motivation.
I don't know how I forget this because you're a big music guy, but music can really help me get motivated. So, I listen to every now and then. I have like a album on my, is it called an album? I don't know, like a thing on my
playlist?
Spotify. Yeah, playlist on my Spotify. And it's called Motivation. And I just listen to these people talk and it's like, heavier music and it gets me going. And I forget about it, but every time that I listen to it, it just gets me ready to do the thing. You're doing good. Good job, bud. So everybody that's watching this right now, go ahead and lift your arms up at shoulder level. Thanks, Josh. But anyway, music can help you get in the mood too, to do the thing that you wanted to do. It's possible. It's possible.
It's all possible. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Look for the motivators and apply. Oh, I'm done. Apply them to your life. Okay. I've already done push-ups today too. I'm just saying. So.
Oh, wow.
So I'm a little more tired, than other people might be. All right. Show's over. Thank you so much. We love you all. You guys, I don't know if it's a good show or not. We're going to have a guest on next week, I think, though. I contacted this person. I told them I would be interested in having them on as a guest, and they responded like, yeah, that sounds like fun. It's just a question of will it be next week or not? So
wonderful.
We'll find out. So stay tuned on that. And if you want to be a guest on the show and you feel like you have something to offer the community that is, reasonable, something maybe from your own experience, preferably. We're looking for people who could share personal experiences of triumph, challenge, tragedy, trauma, pain that they were able to find solutions, answers for, or at least understanding for, that is what matters most. Like last week, having Joe on. If you missed last week's episode, Joe was fantastic. He'd never been on a podcast in his life. Joe Chapman.
Yeah. He did really well.
He really did. And he had a message that was, I really thought it was powerful and fantastic and useful. And it was about addiction and his own story. And he's still working on it, and his family and pressures from the social areas. So I hope you check that episode out if you missed it. All of them are available on our YouTube channel. Plus, every episode possible is available on our podcast, which is available on every podcast platform imaginable. So there it is. That's the First Aid Pod. firstaidpod@gmail.com. Leigh Ann, hello. Michael Govier. First Aid Pod on all standard social media. And I think that'll do it. We hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week. We hope the show brought you something of use. Listen to mood music if you find it. And that'll pretty much do it for us.
Wait, what did that say?
Oh, Josh says, I might not mind coming on. Okay. Well, Josh, if you got a story to share that you think will be useful to the community, we'd love to have you on. So we can talk about that after the fact. Let us know. firstaidpod@gmail.com.
Bye.